Okay, so welcome to Wingspan. So this is a game themed off of with the theme of trying to build a viable bird sanctuary. So it's a card game. The deck consists primarily of cards of bird cards. They are the only cards that you can play on your turn. So on your turn, there are 4 actions you can take, which is to play a card into one of your 4 habitats, I guess you could call them, or take the action of one of these 3 habitats, which are gaining food, laying eggs, or drawing cards. Food is used to pay for birds. Eggs are used to power up certain abilities, and they do other things. They're also worth points at the end of the game, and drawing cards is obviously for drawing cards. So at the start of the game, we have 10 resources, which are 5 cards drawn randomly from the top of the deck, plus 1 of each resource type in the game. It's seen here at the bottom. And we have to choose which 5 things to keep. And let's look at some of the things that are going to inform our decisions this game. So one thing is, what is one of our secret goals for this game? We're trying to play birds with bull nests. Or we want to try to play birds that are worth less than 4 points. So if I go back to our hand... Oops, that's not it. If we go back to our actual hand... Do we have any bull nest birds? No, we don't. There are none in the display. We have a star nest bird, which counts. Bird Bagro. Yeah, the game's very gorgeous. We actually... So even though we don't have any bull nest birds in hand, one of the goals for the public goals that all players are trying to compete for has to do with bull nests. So it might be worth keeping this because we want to find them anyway. In the first round, we care about birds with cavity nests. We care about birds in the forest. We care about eggs in the water habitat, but that's later in the game. So do we have birds with cavity nests in hand? No, we don't. Okay, so our hand is garbage. There are kind of ramp strategies in this game, actually. There are birds that can generate you a ton of food very, very quickly, like this common raven, that you can use to ramp out big birds later. I think the raven is definitely one of the things we're keeping. This chimney swift can be quite versatile. It's also a star nest, so it counts as all nest types, so that could be useful. Other than that, I kind of just want to find ways of drawing more cards. So I might just keep these 2 birds and then just keep certain resources that we need to be able to play them. Okay, I don't want to think too much about it, so we'll just do this. Yeah, the ravens, there are a lot of ravens in this game, so you could say that there are raven ramp decks or raven ramp strategies, because nobody has a deck in this game, everyone shares a deck, or draws from the common deck. This is a good overview. If this is hard for you guys to follow and understand what's going on, this is kind of an overview of the entire game board. This is kind of what the game looks like when you're playing it in real life. So we have 3 habitats: forests, grasslands, and wetlands. You can play up to 5 birds in each territory, and the more birds you play in a particular territory, the more powerful that territory's action becomes. So the more birds we play in our forest, the more food we'll gain whenever we take a gain food action, or the more eggs we can lay when we take a lay eggs action from the field, or the more cards we'll draw when we draw cards with this action. So you play birds in your habitats from left to right, so that's why these boxes are highlighted. These are the first slots that we're allowed to play birds. Once we want to play a second bird into any environment, you have to pay an additional cost of 1 egg. So food is a cost requirement to play certain birds. For example, this prairie chicken wants 1 insect and 2 seeds to be played, but if you want to play them more birds in the same habitat, you're going to have to start paying eggs as a cost as well. Eggs are also used, for example, in abilities like this, discard an egg, and then you can gain 2 food of your choice. That's what this pinwheel means from the supply. Okay, so we're on our first turn. So our opponents played this bird in their first turn. Gain 1 from the bird feeder if available. You may cash it on this card, okay? Both of our opponents played birds in their forest, so our opponents are looking to get their food action to be more efficient immediately. I might... So this common raven is best when it's in the prairie, because the prairies let us generate eggs, and then we can immediately activate the bird in that zone. And since it requires eggs, we can kind of like do a 2-for-1. We can generate eggs and then trigger this bird, discard the egg, and get some food. The problem is we need a second bird to lay eggs onto. Which might be this duck. Can I look at this duck more closely? How can I do that? I want to see how many egg slots it has. Oh, it's down there. I see. We might want to be drawing this duck on our first turn, because it's a good way to propel us into more cards, and it's a cheap bird that we can use to play out and put other eggs on. So let's do that. Done. How's the game volume for you guys? The music seems kind of loud in my ears. The music's gorgeous, it's just very loud in my ears right now. Can look at our opponent's habitat, see what they're doing. There's their woodpecker that they played. You can see that they're deciding what they're doing. So this is our supply right here. This cube represents how many actions we have left. So we have 7 more actions to take this round. We have no eggs on the board. We don't have any fruits, but we have 1 fish, 1 insect, 1 rodent. So those are our resources. We need all 3 of them to play this common raven, so we're gonna need to gain 1 more resource to be able to play this duck before we can start doing this common raven engine, so to speak. And all the meanwhile, we want to be looking for opportunities to draw with our duck on the board, so we can like churn through the deck and find the key cards we need to score a point. We might be forfeiting this round's goal and not even bother with it, but we'll see. We might have enough actions to be able to do it. Okay. I think the... Gain food, drew birds. Okay, so now we're gonna play... I think I'm also gonna gain food. Unfortunately, the food in the bird feeder is not great for... Doesn't work for our duck. So I think I'm just gonna play the common raven and hope that somebody else wants to gain food and resets the bird feeder. I'm gonna play the common raven into this area.
Common raven. Ravens are omnivores whose diet includes insects, rodents, eggs, birds, and carrion.
See? The game's also educational, chat. I'm pretty sure the game even has bird sound effects. Yeah, like this is an actual raven's cry. And apparently ducks sound like this. Well, that duck does anyway. These are all real-world recorded sound effects for these birds. So the way the gain food action works is that a dice pool of 5 is randomly rolled at the start of the game, and from that pool you're allowed to select those food items from it. When the pool gets exhausted, the dice are re-rolled and new random choices are presented to players. However, you can kind of manipulate it in between those times. For example, if I were to take a food action that allowed me to take 2 dice from this pool at this time, I could, for example, take this fish and gain 1 fish. And then, because all the food items that are left in the thing are the same symbol, you are allowed to re-roll the entirety of the dice pool. So, if I didn't want these berries, for example, I could take the fish, re-roll all 5 dice, and then hopefully hit something that I do want. But right now, our food action is limited to 1 dice pick, so none of these food items are appealing for us. They don't allow us to play these birds, so we're hoping that our opponents help us reset this feeder, but they could be playing in such a way that they know that they don't want us to do that. So we'll see. So what did our opponent do on their turn? Or what did our opponents do? They just played cards, so the bird feeder remains unchanged, unfortunately. So what is our game plan now? I think we're just gonna have to suck it up and use some food actions to gain some food here. I'm presenting our opponents with the opportunity to get a fresh bird feeder, but I think we're just gonna have to do that. And in this game, any 2 food items can count as any one you want. So even if we end up not being able to get the food we want a second time on our turn, we can still turn the 2 food that we do have into the one we're missing. There actually are different maps in this game. I chose this one with this kind of little cottage on the bottom, but I think there's 4 or 5 different backgrounds that you can choose from. It doesn't change the gameplay, it just changes the aesthetic. But ultimately, all game boards have this shape. Everybody has this in front of them, as well as everyone sees these same 3 cards down here, which represents the cards that you can draw. Whenever you draw cards in this game, you can either draw them blind from the draw pile here, or there's always a display of 3 birds face up that everyone can see. Yeah, this is just an alternate view of what we're scrolling through. As you can see, for example, these are the different stages of the draw a card action, and the same symbols are seen here. So as we put more birds in the wetlands habitat, our draw cards action gets more and more powerful. You know, if we we only draw 1 card every time we activate it by default, but if we have 2 birds in the habitat, we start drawing 2. 1 bird is we start drawing 1, and we have the option to discard an egg to draw a second card. All of the habitats kind of have that resource trading aspect to them. For example, the forest. Once we have 1 bird in the forest, every time we take the gain food action, we can gain 1 food, and then we can choose to discard a card to gain a second food. And so forth. It's all cyclical. Cards can be converted to food. Food can be converted to eggs. Eggs can be converted to cards. At least with these actions. Cards like this common raven let us convert eggs into food, but we have to be discarding eggs from other birds. It's not self-enabling. Yep, so our opponents took advantage of what... Someone, at least, took advantage of... our... what am I trying to say? Someone re-rolled the dice in the bird feeder and took advantage of it. So we're gonna do the same, I think. Or we're just gonna take one of the food items that we need. Done. That's our turn. How many bird species feature in the game? Good question. Over to... Every card in the deck is unique. There are definitely some redundancy as far as like powers are concerned, so you're just not constantly searching for that one card that fits with your deck. There are definitely some overlap. Like, for example, there are several ravens in the game that kind of have a very similar ability, but they might have a slightly different costs, point values, nest types, etc., etc. But every actual bird, as represented by name and picture, is unique in the game. So you just have to know how many cards are in the deck to know how many different species there are. I think it's well over 200. It could be 300. I can't remember. It's been a little too long since I've played. No, there's no opening of packs for birds. You get everything. This is a digital version of a board game that comes with so everything is ready to go out of the box, and in the case of the digital edition, everything's ready to go as soon as you buy it. I think the game is under $30. I think there's a special promotion on right now since it just launched yesterday. I think you can get it for $21. I'm not 100% certain. While we're waiting for our opponents to take their turns, I can definitely check though. So my Steam page is in Canadian dollars, so keep that in mind. So right now the game retails for $22.79 Canadian, which I think is approximately $19.95 American. And it's also 10% off until the 24th as a special promotion because they just launched the game. Northern pesos, yes. Fairly inexpensive considering the board game originally retailed for something like $50 or $60 US. And you know, the board game didn't have online multiplayer, so consider that. Look at that, we can click and drag.
Ruddy duck. To display for mates, males slap their blue bills on their chests and run across the water.
Oh, maybe I would have been more successful in at getting dates in college if I had tried that. Yeah, the game is very family friendly, but it's deep enough and it's crunchy enough for card gamers to really, like, you know, optimize and strategize the perfect synergies for their decks and cards, given the options that are presented to them every turn or every game. And, you know, the aesthetic, the theme, and the visuals are quite charming. Yeah, but you know what? The game is... There's enough randomness in the game that it's hard to... The tryhards might not be able to beat someone that just gets a smoother hand, which might piss people off if you're really into, you know, skill over luck in your games, but it's a card game. There's always going to be some amount of luck, right? Like, I definitely try hard when I play this game, but I'm not gonna do that too much here. we're playing it on stream and just trying to experience, just experience this new release, you know. I almost kind of wish you could change your background, like, while waiting, just to see all the different backgrounds. Alright. I think we can finally do the thing. So we actually have an extra food from that we didn't spend, that we didn't need. So we could take the lay eggs action, discard the food to create a third egg. But ultimately we would net a little bit less food. I think we don't need to do that. I don't think we need a third egg just yet. I think I'd rather just make sure we have as much food on hand as possible. Let's kind of look at how the board changed a little bit though, because our opponents have been drawing some cards. So this one's kind of interesting. It kind of goes a little bit with our card draw strategy, but I think we're gonna, even though we care about birds in the forest come the third round, we might be ignoring the forest because like this is pretty much our food engine this game, right? We're just gonna lay eggs and discard one every turn to gain two resources of our choice from the supply. And because of that, we might be playing this, we might want to draw this swan at some point. It's a big 9-point card. No abilities, but just a solid 9 points for 3 resources is pretty good. When played, draw 2 new bonus cards and keep 1. That could also be interesting. Doesn't work with our endgame goal though. That's something we have to remember and keep in mind. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay eggs. Okay, and we're gonna lay them mostly on this duck because we want to be able to discard it. So we're gonna say yes. And now our Common Raven activates, because whenever you activate a habitat's ability, all the birds with a when activated ability trigger. So we're going to discard 1 egg from one of our birds. And now we can gain 2 resources of our choice from the supply. I think we're going to gain 2 insects so that we can play our Chimney Swift the next turn. Done. And now we have 1 egg left. See, we have to pay an additional egg whenever we want to place birds as we play more birds in a habitat, you have to start paying eggs to play them. So it's 1 egg extra for birds number 2 and 3, and 2 eggs for birds number 3 and 4. So we do have an egg that we can play this, let's say here, and then we're gonna draw some cards, and then this bird can actually move to other habitats, powering up those actions. So I think on our next turn after that, we're gonna draw cards and then lay 3 eggs, lay even more eggs, gain a ton of food, and hopefully the cards we find with this are gonna be good. We're gonna start playing them. We aren't gonna do very well on our first action though. So maybe what we actually kind of can do is we can play this here first, lay eggs on this and this, then move this. And hopefully be in contention for this first round goal. Right now, Subhuman 31, I guess is their name, has 1 egg in a cavity nest towards this goal, so they're in first place here. You can see we have 1 egg in the water right here. So that's why we're up here. We're first place in this, but this is round 4. We don't care about it now. Sorry, I'll get back to chat. Have I played it physically? Yes, I actually own a physical copy of this game. I pre-ordered it when it was first announced because it looked like something that I would really enjoy, and I played it like 50 times. No, probably not quite that much. Maybe like 30 times physically, and I've actually was in the beta test for this digital edition, so I played it another like 30 times online. Yeah, I mean, so far the game seems like it runs very, very smoothly. So we have 2 actions left, including, yeah. So we're gonna do this. Boom. Now we only have 1 action left, and our plan is to lay 3 eggs, 2 of which are gonna be... Oh, it's saying we have to spend the egg, yeah.
Chimney swift. These birds have adapted to nest in chimneys instead of hollow trees.
There you go. It's kind of crazy that for as long as humans have been on the planet and have been building chimneys, that a bird has evolved to, like, live in that, I don't know what you call it, environment. Anyway, so with our final action for this round, we're going to lay 3 eggs, putting 2 of them on this star nest bird, which will work towards this goal. And hopefully it will be enough to get us first place. I doubt it. Yeah, this person's already got 2 eggs in such a nest, so we're probably not going to be able to beat them. 3 eggs, actually. So this person's probably well ahead in first. This person can also get ahead if they decide to take another lay eggs action on their turn, because they have... This bird can have up to 3 eggs in its nest, let's call it, at a time. So if they want to take a lay eggs action, they could ensure that we don't get second place. But if we tie with them, then we split the points in a certain way. I can't remember how exactly it works. But we'll worry about it when it comes to it. I think that's our best bet, because either way, even if we end up getting third place with this, I mean, I think it's still worth trying. I guess we're the last player. We needed to threaten the ability to gain points with our final action this way. So it could very well be that by the time we get to our turn, even if we take this action, we can't gain any points for the round, because unfortunately in round 1, third place is worth no points. But it's not all for nothing. We will still get 2 food of our choice and be able to move this in a position here where we can draw 2 cards on our next turn, and the next round we're going to be going second, and we'll have almost first crack at a fresh new bird display, and hopefully we can find things that are more useful to help us get our end game goals, and also this hidden goal that we have. So I think it was important to threaten the ability to do this. Counter the resistance. It just needs to be like, it's a countermeasure that is attached to your accounts that ensures that you don't even get matched with people who are playing resistance cards in their deck. Okay, our last action. This person drew birds, this person gained food. So let's take a look and see what the current status is of this. So if we know that if we lay eggs and put it on our Chimney Swift, we're gonna be tied for first place, which means me and the Blue Duck player here are gonna get, I believe the way it works is it's rounded down, so you add up the points of first and second and divide it by 2 rounded down. So I think we both gain 2 points in that case for round 1, which is better than nothing. It's better than 1 and it's better than 0. Which was the best we could have hoped for. That actually turned out as better than I could have hoped for ultimately. So done. The 3rd egg. We're gonna move the Chimney Swift to the water habitat. Say yes. And then the Raven activates. So birds in habitats, when you take the action, kind of think of it like this. Our bird was here, so we took this action, and then you work your way left. So we took this action, we laid 3 eggs, then our Chimney Swift activated, which says we can move it, and we did. And then our Raven's now activating, which says we can discard an egg to gain 2 food, so we will. And the 2 food we want to gain... Ooh, that's cool. The mouse wheel lets you scroll between the summary of the cards and then the actual text. That's sweet. Gain 2 from the supply. So we don't have any birds in hand, so we don't know what kind of food we want to gain in that way. These birds are going to go away, so we can't use that as a guide. But I know for a fact that these 2 are very common food types, so I think it's the safest bet is to gain 1 of each. Then again, No, I think that's fine. I think that we'll keep it at that. Oop, was I wrong in that someone else had another action left? Wait a minute. Why does it say I only have one egg in that habitat? Did I accidentally click something? Oh, right. This symbol isn't number of eggs in that nest type. It's number of birds with at least one egg in that nest type. That's why we only have one towards that goal. That's why that happened. Okay. So unfortunately, we tied with the other player and ended up getting no points. So this person got 4 and that was it. Okay. I was confused. The CM number? What is the CM number? Oh, this represents their wingspan. So the wingspan of this ruddy duck is 48 centimeters. Some cards care about this, mostly predatory cards. There are cards in the game that are predators, and they will tell you to randomly turn cards over from the top of the deck, and if you find birds that are small enough for them to hunt, you can convert them into points. So all birds have a point value, a nest type, a wingspan, number of eggs that they can lay, and normally, yeah, the wingspan doesn't do anything inherently, it's just something that other cards reference. Yeah, and there are some endgame goals that also care about how big your bird's wingspans are, for example. Yeah, so wingspans don't do anything inherently, they're referenced by other cards. And the predatory cards are actually pretty fun. We'll see if we can find any and play any this game. But for now, let's kind of think about what we want to do. We said we wanted to draw 2 cards as the first action on our turn, then maybe move this Chimney Swift back to the plains so we can start laying eggs and gaining food again, and then we'll make room in our wetlands to draw even more cards. So hopefully ideally what we want to find is, because we care about eggs in bull nest and eggs in wetlands this game, we would really ideally want to find birds that can live in the wetlands and have bull nests. Unfortunately, I think bull nests are mostly forest birds, but we do need birds in the forest for the round 3, so there's an American goldfinch right here that we can play in our plains to make our lay eggs action even better, and it has a bull nest. And when you play it, you gain 3 seeds from the supply, so it's essentially free if you have the seeds, because it costs 2 seeds, but you gain 3 back. There is an eagle in this game. There's several eagles in this game, actually. So I think what we want to do... Great Blue Herring's also pretty great. It's a card that lets you play another card, assuming that you can afford it, which we should be able to, because we're eventually going to gain a lot of food. So this is something that we can play. It might not be something we play for a while, but eventually, for our food and egg engine that we already have going, this represents a free action at some point. And as this is an action selection game at its heart, free actions are obviously very powerful. So I think for our draw 2, rather than drawing blind off the deck, I think we're just going to take these 2 cards. And now we can move this back to the plains because we definitely need food. We have the ability to play the herring now, but the problem is this Chimney Swift needs to always be the rightmost bird in order to activate its ability and move around. So I think we're going to make room for our herring and then move this back and make room for the goldfinch. That might be our plan. Draw 2 cards. If you do, discard one from your hand at the end of your turn. Right, now we can activate the Ruddy Duck. I forgot about that. Our Ruddy Duck has an ability here. He hasn't just been sitting around looking pretty. He lets us draw 2 and then discard 1, essentially. So let's just draw, because I don't really care about this paint and bunting, I don't think. Actually, wait a minute. That's a bull nest bird and it can go in the plains, plus it has a pretty good ability. Let's do it. Okay, now we have a tough choice to make. Which bird are we discarding? Nope, not you. We drew this interesting one. This is another bull nest bird. It can go in our wetlands, which we like. And it says once between turns, when a player takes the gain food action, if they gain any number of mice, also gain 1 mice from the supply and cash it on this card. That ability is just okay. Good chance that ability just never activates this game. So even though I really want stuff that can go in the wetlands that are also bull nests, but we need at least 4 bull nests to make this card work. Am I supposed to get rid of the heron? Nah, there's no way we have to get rid of the heron. It's between the bunting and the loggerhead shrike, but it might be the bunting. Definitely want you, because you're essentially a free card and has a lot of space for bull nest. So do you, so do you. You're cheaper, so maybe it's more important to get you out early so I can fill the nest, but I like bonus cards too. Might not have enough actions for this. How many gain food actions are we going to need this game? Or this round. We probably have enough time to take 2 gain food actions and play 2 birds. Or play 3 birds. This guy also helps. I'm gonna take the bunting. This ability is just never gonna activate. Hopefully we find more interesting, then again, we need this to play with this. I'm just gonna hope we find another wetlands bird between now and then. There's one right there. These 2 have bull nests though. This one can go in the plains, which is more interesting to me than this one that can only go in the forest. But this guy's only worth 1 point, whereas this one's 6. But this one's only costs 1 resource. This guy's 3. Tuck a bird from your hand behind this bird if you do draw 1. So that's an additional draw engine that we could put into our plains. And suddenly our plains are gaining us eggs, food, and cards all in one go. So that's kind of nice. We might be picking up this American Robin. I don't know about the grebe. It's not worth any points. It's not a nest type we're interested in. It's basically another Ruddy Duck. Draw 2 if you do, discard 1. It's the same thing as the Ruddy Ducks. This is what I was talking about before, how there's some redundancy. Even though every card in the deck is unique in terms of name and... Well, every card is unique mechanically as well. But see, this one's only 41 centimeters versus 48. This one takes different resources than this one. Same nest type, same point value, but... can get a quick overview of what our opponents are doing. Our opponent drew cards and they took one of the cards we were interested in. We were a couple... Oh, look at that. Oh, I swear it wasn't changing before. Oh, it's maybe this person has the same background as me. This person has a slightly different background. So you can see how, like, there's different scenes. We got ours is like more of an autumn scene. Theirs is like spring or summer. This is like looks like a late summer kind of scene. You can click our opponent's birds to hear their call types, their chirps, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I guess we did. That's fine. We're gonna move the chimney swift back to the wetlands. We're gonna discard an egg from our raven to gain 2 resources of our choice from the supply. I think we're gonna go with the painted bunting next because it's gonna inform our decision about what other birds we want to get, because we're gonna get a new bonus card, which is an end game goal card, essentially. Do we have enough eggs to play 2 birds into the... yeah, we do, right? After I discard that, the duck will have 2 left, so we can actually play the American goldfinch and then the painted bunting. So we want to get 1 seed for sure. That'll put us up to 2, which means we'll get 3 on our next turn. And then I think I'll just go for variety, just so that no matter what bird we draw, we can have something to play. Oh, I guess we need 2. If we're going to play this eventually, we need another one of those. So maybe instead of that, we go with this. Alright, so I think our next 2 turns are play the goldfinch, play the bunting, draw some cards, gain more food, possibly play another bird. How many actions? We have 5 actions left. We can go play, play, act, draw, gain food, play 1 more bird, possibly blue heron, which will trigger and let us play a second bird. Second burb. Our crow duck strategy is going great, actually. Our strategy is impeccable. Impeccable. It's interesting that it doesn't show the eye under your thing when you're looking at your own habitat, but I guess the idea being like you should know you're looking at your habitat, so why would you need that? So using some TCG speech right here, this great blue heron, good at generating tempo, because it gives us a free action if we can satisfy its conditions. Gonna see if we can do that before the end of this round, if it makes sense. We really need a lot of eggs in bull nests, though, so our focus is definitely going to be to try to fill the nests of these birds. We're probably not going to get anywhere with this goal, unfortunately. But we're hopefully going to get first place in this goal and this goal. And maybe if we can maximize both our Wildlife Gardener bonus card and the bonus card we find and choose one of the good bonus cards we find off of this painted bunting. Hopefully that'll be enough to give us the win. I would also like to start finding some actual really expensive birds, like good birds to gain us points as well. This one might be an interesting one. It fits in our wetlands. It's kind of expensive, but it's worth 7 points, so that's kind of nice. When we get back to the point of drawing cards, that might be one that we take. But our first 2 turns pretty much have to be playing these birds, so we're gonna do that first. So Finch. Oh, I think we have to... We have to spend an egg, because that's our second
American
bird.
goldfinch. Goldfinches breed late after the milkweed and thistle have gone to seed.
The more you know. Oh, it's telling me to gain 3 from the supply. Yes, I will gain 3 from the supply. Thank you. So, this one has a deployment effect for you cards players out there. When played, gain 3 from the supply. So it cost us 2, but then we gained those 2 back plus 1. So, resource efficiency. Resource efficiency, thy name is American Goldfinch. So next turn, we're going to spend 2 of those 3 seeds that we just gained, plus the 1 insect that we gained from previous actions to play a painted bunting into this habitat here. That we'll spend the egg from our Ruddy Duck to do that. Then our plan is to draw some cards, moving our Chimney Swift back into the plains, which will make it cover this spot here, which means when we take the lay eggs action, again, we're going to lay 4 eggs, one of which will be discarded to gain 2 food, and hopefully those 2 food will let us play one of the birds that we drew, in addition to this great blue heron, into our wetland area. So we're essentially looking to play 3 more birds and lay a bunch of eggs before the end of this round and hopefully get first place towards this goal here. We're currently in second, behind the purple player here. Purple player... Let's see, they have the potential right now to have up to 7 towards that goal. If our plan goes off without a hitch, we have the potential to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 towards that goal. So we're currently have the ability to beat them. It could be that when we take that lay eggs action to move our Chimney Swift, we just will decline and then take that action a second time as our final action for the round and just fill as many egg slots as possible. Yeah, we don't have to worry about carpet bombing. All of our birds have high enough... all of our birds are immune to carpet bombing. In fact, this game is great. If you haven't been enjoying the current cards format, because this game does not have any discard effects, nor resistance. None of that here. You don't have to worry about that here. Play the bunting, pay for the food, use this egg.
Painted bunting. Poachers sell these birds as pets, making it harder for wild populations to thrive.
That's kind of sad. Okay, since we have a really good egg laying strategy, almost certainly gonna pick this one. So by the end of the game, if we have at least 7 to 8 birds that have at least 1 egg laid on them, we'll get a bonus 3 points, and if 9 plus, we get bonus 6 points. And eggs themselves are worth points at the end of the game, so this is really going to inform our strategy for the rest of this game. So this is a great pick. This is a great hit, actually. So we have 3 actions left. So I believe our actions are going to be draw cards, lay eggs, and possibly lay eggs a second time, depending on where our position is with this. This does mean we need to ensure that we get at least 9 birds played in this game, but considering how many eggs and food we're generating every time we take this action, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I don't think that's going to be a problem this game. We also have a free play bird action in the form of this blue heron, sort of banked. So that's kind of nice. Ooh, Peregrine Falcon. So this is one of those predatory effects I was talking about before. Look at the top card of the deck. If the wingspan is less than 100 centimeters, tuck it behind this bird, which means basically gain a point. If not, discard it. So this is a bird that cares about wingspans, for example. So falcons are kind of going toe-to-toe with birds up to birds almost as big as them. It's got a 104 centimeter wingspan, but it takes on birds up to 99 centimeter wingspan. That's pretty cool. Eggs are kind of like tokens, so we're a spam egg token strategy. We've been playing this game for 50 minutes and we're only halfway through it, guys. Partially we're waiting for our opponents to take their turns. It's also I'm a little rusty, so I'm taking longer to do my turns normal, and I'm trying to explain the game as we go, of course. We might take this grackle. Someone just drew. But this can go in the wetlands, and it's a bull nest for us. We're probably not going to get 6+ birds with bull nest, but we can get at least 4 to activate this and get the minimum 4 points. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be nice. That's probably one of the cards we're going to draw if our opponent lets us. Could maybe get this purple Galanui. What does this thing do, actually, while it's in there? Tuck a bird from your hand behind this bird. Tuck a card. If you do, also lay an egg on this bird. So that's okay. That's not bad. He's not worth very many points, but... He's also not super expensive. I think I want to take these two. Yeah. What does the quail do? He just lays eggs. All players draw a card from the deck. I probably will never actually activate that. I might decline. Since we're gonna draw 2 cards with our Rudy Duck anyway, I think I'll draw 2 blind from the top of the deck first, and then we can get a better sense of what we might want. Black Vulture's not something we're interested in this game, so that's probably what we're discarding to the Ruddy Duck's ability when we get there. Swainson's Hawk might be something we're interested in playing in our planes. It's worth a decent amount, plus it has the ability to generate more points. Sure. Move you back to the planes. And we're gonna draw these 2. And then we're gonna discard the vulture. Oop. Not you. I'm gonna discard the vulture to... Okay, why? There we go. Alright, thanks, Kaylin. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you next time. Monday is our next stream. We're going to be playing Runeterra. I have, yeah, we're just going to be playing some games of Runeterra. I may or may not go online again sometime this weekend and play more of this game, though. We'll see. We'll see what's in the cards for this weekend. I was supposed to play some online games with folks some point this weekend, but that doesn't sound like it's happening anymore, so maybe instead I'm going to stream some more of this game. Do a little bit of a bonus stream. It's online gaming, just with randoms. Ooh, we have a Clark's Grebe here, which is a star nest. So that also counts towards our goal here, if we care to. 1, 2, 3. Probably gonna play this as a 4. I don't know that we're gonna get up to 6 birds to turn this into a 7-point card, but we can try. It might not be worth the hassle. If we can find high point value birds with bowl nests, like worth 5+ points, it might be worth spamming them out, but otherwise I think I'd rather focus on playing just birds that they themselves are worth a lot. We'll see. Because at this point, if we're not getting like birds that are worth at least 5 points and work towards this goal, then it's just worse than playing birds that are just worth like say 7 or 7+ points. Still, it would be nice to get at least 4, because just one more bird representing 4 more points. Because like we were always going to play these were easy plays, these were free, these were cheap, these powered up our actions, but at this point now, trying to get beyond, trying to get up to the 6 birds to maximize this might not be optimal, but getting one more to make this card worth 4 points instead of 0 points probably is. So we'll see. I'm hoping we can find something better than this thing to play. Alright, so now this is where we need to check out what our opponents are doing towards these goals. So right now we're only in 2nd place at 2 eggs. We're about to lay 4, most of what, in fact, all of them are going on our thing. Our opponents don't have good lay eggs action, so I don't think they're going to be able to catch up to what we're doing. But I also don't think I need to draw a ton of cards. This person has no bowl nests at all, so they're just not even in contention for that thing, I don't think. This person, even if they play a bird, they could take the lay eggs actions twice to lay 6 eggs. They only have capacity for 4 more, so they'll have 7 max. So I think we guaranteed have 1st place in this 2nd round goal. Then I don't think there's any way that they can stop that from happening that I can think of off the top of my head. So now the question is, what are our next 2 moves? I think no matter what, we're probably not moving the Chimney Swift this round. We're probably just doing this. We're probably declining moving this, which should be an option. I think you just click this. Because I don't want to move the Chimney... I could move the Chimney Swift here in anticipation of getting a more powerful draw cards action, because we are going first next round, so we get first crack at the display, which would be nice. But I could always do that next round. And if we don't need to lay more eggs because we've already got 1st place based on our opponent's next couple of actions, then I could always just move this to power it up again. Or I could play this, and then like have a pretty good lay egg draw cards action anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna decline moving that bird. Then we're gonna discard. Oh, I guess we don't. I guess we have to discard an egg from one of these birds. That's fine. It's always gonna be worth it. We need. What do we need to play this guy? We need a fruit and a grain. We already have the grain, and we need a wild. We already have the wild. We already have something, but we just do this. Actually, I'll get a fish. Most wetland things. Oh yeah, we can only gain 2. Greedy Jatora. Well, if I get these 2, then we can play both, right? I think so. Because this is gonna cost this and this. And then we can play a second bird. And this could be played with this and these 2. That's gonna cost 2 eggs though, so we might not be able to do that because that might mean that we're not in striking distance for this goal. So yeah, our next turn might just be lay eggs and not move Chimney Swift again because we want to... I think we want to open our first turn by playing Great Blue Heron into Purple Gallinule. Gallinule? Yeah, if you want it to be, this game can be pretty competitive. It can be pretty... there are a lot of lines to think of. There are a lot of strategies you can take. And because you can see what birds your opponent has played, you can get a sense of what they're capable of doing at any given point on their turn. And so racing for these goals at the top here are like one of the main like competitive aspects of the game. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering if this is an AI opponent based on this name. Because I was fiddling around with this game earlier and I didn't quite know what I was doing, and I think I set it up so that I create rooms where there's like one human, one AI opponent or something. This might actually be an AI. I'm not 100% certain. Okay. So I'm on my last action. This person has no more actions left. This person has one more action left. This person, or so we think, has one action left. If they are currently at 1, 2, 3, 4 eggs in bull nest. At most, they can get another 3. So they can get the maximum of 7, so I don't think we can spend eggs this round just because we want to make sure that we have the maximum. So I think we're just going to do what we said we were going to do. We're just going to gain more food. We're just going to lay more eggs and gain more food. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna go we'll do that. Skip this again. I'll discard an egg from you. And I know that a lot of wetland birds that we could run into that we want to play like eating things like this, so we'll do this to have a more rounded food supply. So we should have round 2 first place guaranteed, unless I'm missing something. Oh, look at that. It's showing our total score currently. We're at 24 points. Our birds are worth 16 points. Our bonus cards haven't been scored yet, so that's nothing. We don't have any points for our round goals yet, but we're about to get 5. We have 8 eggs, so that's worth 8 points. Food tokens. I think this represents cached food on birds. So certain birds can hoard food. We don't have any birds that do that or have done that, so that's why that's at 0. And we haven't had any birds tuck bird cards underneath them. And birds can do this for 2 reasons: either because they're predatory and they're eating other birds, or because they're flocking and they're bringing other birds. They're adding more birds to their flock. So we don't have any birds that do that. I think we're on a very simple strategy of just gaining this number as high as possible, doing these as well as we can, and also getting this number as high as possible. We're not really in this strategy here. If this is an AI, this is a really slow playing AI. Not to say that this person's playing slow, it's just that this would be a very slow AI. So maybe it's not an AI. Yay! First place! Alright, we're going first in, oh, that was their last 2 actions that round, okay. Sandhill Crane. So there's a decently, worth, wait, discard 1 seed to tuck 2 from the deck behind this bird. That's actually pretty powerful. That actually is very powerful with our current action, because we can gain eggs, gain food, tuck 2 cards. That's probably what we're going for in our final round, actually. I think we're drawing this card for certain. Discard a seed to tuck 2. So every 1 food we turn into 2 points, and of course, every time we lay eggs, 1 of those eggs turns into 2 food. We found like the Wombo combo. Yeah, even though this is not the greatest draw cards round, I think that's what we're playing here. I think that's our play. I kind of wanted to go Great Blue Heron first, but I don't want someone to take this away from us. So we're gonna draw, and I don't think I'm gonna spend an egg to draw a second card. It's not worth it. Our Ruby Duck's gonna like draw us plenty. So we're definitely taking you. And then I don't care about either of those, so we'll draw blind from the deck. We'll discard the worthless card. This one's at least playable in the wetlands and is 4 points for 2 resources, 2 food, so I think it's worth more than the other one. It honestly might be mathematically optimal to just play this Sandhill Crane immediately and then just hammer the gain eggs actions for the rest of the game. Although we won't have a seed to do that, actually. So I might move the Chimney Swift 1 more time before we do that. No, it might actually just be optimal to do. We still want 9 birds though for this, but we can do that in between certain actions. So I think what we're doing on our next turn is we might be going Great Blue Heron plus probably this 7-pointer if we have the food to do it. And then we're gonna move the Chimney Swift to make to gain the food we're missing to play Sandhill Crane, and then we're just gonna keep going with that, I think. The rest of the game. Could be that it's worth... Well, let's see here. This purple Gallinule is worth 7 points, but if I play this thing... Where are you? Oh, scrolling through your hand is kind of awkward in this game. If I play this, that's 3 points, plus it gives me my 4th bird towards our goal here, so it's actually also worth 7 points, but maybe we can find another bull nest that's worth more later. So I'll play the 7-pointer then, since it's only worth 1 more food.
Great blue heron. Great blue herons form rookeries with egrets, cormorants, and other herons.
I need anything, this and this, so that obviously, yes, I like that instead of the second thing.
Purple gallinule. With its long toes, this bird can walk on lily pads without sinking.
Oop, I just got an achievement. You guys can't see it because it's on the Steam overlay, but I got something called Play 2 Birds with 1 Stone or something like that. So, 28 points just in birds. Pretty good. So next turn, we're gonna lay 4 eggs, move the Chimney Swift so we can play Sandhill Crane there, and then the Chimney Swift back, just in case. Well, that means we have to use a different action, though. Might be that we're just never moving this Chimney Swift, now that I think about it. We might be activating this, getting the food that we're missing to do this. It's pretty much going to be 2 seeds, right? So I get 2 seeds, because then I can spend those 2 seeds plus this rodent to play the Sandhill Crane, and then I can just keep hammering this action for the rest of the game to discard 1, tuck 2 from the deck behind this bird. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. It's kind of boring, but I think that's the best strategy. We won't have a 9th bird to get the 6 points from this, though. But every time we take that action, it's essentially worth... Well, it's worth 4 points until we run out of spots for eggs for our birds. And then 2 points because of the tuck action. So yeah, maybe we are moving this and doing something in such a way that we're going to play at least 1 more bird this game. And maybe it's this grackle. Ooh. Speaking of expensive birds... Maybe we are going to take a draw cards action and actually draw these. Nice. That always feels good. 4-0 is a good start. Getting this golden eagle in the plains would be amazing. I just don't think we have enough time to do it. The bald eagle actually, yeah, he does do that actually. Gain all the fish that are in the bird feeder, so it can be very, very powerful. It can, or his enter ability effect can do nothing. But the main thing is that he's one of the most valuable birds in the game. At 9 points base. And if there's a lot of fish in the bird feeder, then he essentially becomes free because you can make up for like most of his cost. I think I really want to play the golden eagle if I can though, because if I can, because he can go in the plains, and if I can get the golden eagle in the plains, then every time I hit this action, not only will I be gaining points from the sandhill crane tucking birds when it eats a food, then this thing can start hunting birds off the top of the deck and hopefully getting us more points that way. And we definitely have time to do that. It's just a question of whether or not that's optimal. It's definitely the more fun line though, so maybe that's reason enough to do it. Plus we still need a 9th bird with an egg on it for this goal. So why not the golden eagle? What do we think? Do we think that golden eagle is going to stick around for me to draw? Do I need to draw it now, or can I try to be more optimal? So I have 4 more action this round, so what can I do? I can draw the golden eagle. So we need to draw cards at least one more time, I think, to get like enough good birds to play. So I could draw cards, I could draw all these expensive, really good cards and just deny them from my opponents. And then I can lay eggs to get enough food to play the Sandhill Crane. I can play the Sandhill Crane, and then I can lay more eggs and start the Sandhill Crane engine while also gaining a little bit more food to go towards my golden eagle. If I do that though, I won't have room in my planes to play it because my chimney swift will be in the way. So I'd have to lay eggs now to move it and then draw cards, which means my golden eagle could be gone. I think that's okay because we still always play this common grackle, which is actually worth 7 points on its own with our goal card. I think that might be the plan. Select birds to lay eggs on. Let's start spreading out because we care about that for our goal. I'm gonna move you to the wetlands so that it improves our card draw action just in case. Well, and also we need you out of the way. Then this guy's telling me to discard eggs. We'll discard from you. And we need this. I just got another achievement called Fair Feather Friends. I'm not sure what that's for. I think that's for activating bird powers enough times, if I had to guess. Alright, so next turn we're going to draw the Golden Eagle, or the Bald Eagle, or the Roseate Spoonbill. These are all nice cards that are worth a lot of points. And we should have the extra food left over after taking a bunch of actions to play one final bird. We're just going to completely ignore this round's this end round goal of playing birds in the forest. We just didn't need to this game. We had a food engine and the lay eggs action, so we didn't need to play birds the forest and power that one up. So we're going to draw cards, we're going to leave the Chimney Swift right there, we're going to play the Sandhill Crane, we're going to start drawing cards and gaining food and gaining points with that action, and we're just going to keep doing that the rest of the game until we get enough food left over to then also play the Golden Eagle, I suppose. Or the bald eagle. Either or. I guess we won't have enough time to activate the golden eagle a bunch of times. I mean, we might be able to do it once or twice. Okay. So now's our chance, I think. Roseate Spoonbill's a bonus card grabber, yes. I think it's these two. I think we'll skip that one and just draw blind. Because I still wouldn't mind all players draw one from the deck. Do I? Sure, I'll be nice. Still looking for a half-decent bowl nest bird. There's kind of an okay one. This one's worth 8 points now, so this actually might be better to play than the golden eagle, depending on how the rest of the game shakes out. So I kind of like that. That was a good draw. Now we have to discard a card. Doesn't really matter. We have enough cards here. There's plenty of cards we don't need. Great Horned Owl came out. That's another big point generator. Alright, so the rest of our round is just play Sandhill Crane, activate Sandhill Crane, or rather activate card draw and get the benefit from said card. Start gaining food. Our next round, I guess we can gain... We net 1 food with this cycle every time. So we should have enough to play the blue grosbeak or the golden eagle into the final habitat and then activate it one final time. So this is worth 8 points. Actually, it might be the bald eagle we just go for, actually. Because this is worth 8 points, but the bald eagle's worth 9. And this is worth 8, but it could be worth 9 if it activates once. So obviously we should just go for the guaranteed 9 points. It's unfortunate we didn't find at least a bird that was worth 5 points with a bull nest, because then this would have been more worthwhile. Just not the way the game shook out. It's possible I should have hunted for ones more, or it's possible I should have played this Grackle instead of this Gallinule, but no, I don't think that's right. I think what I did was better. This thing even has more egg space too, so it works for this goal a little bit better. Speaking of which, that could be another reason to play the grosbeak over the bald eagle, actually, because not only does it give it 8 points because it works with our goal, but it has more egg space. So it could end up actually being worth more points with how many times we're hitting this action. Alright. I'm gonna see how the rest of the game goes. I pretty much know what the rest of our actions are for this game now. It's just a matter of our opponents letting us do it. Is there a way to scroll through your hand, like arrow keys let you do that? I don't know why, for some reason it feels awkward to me, but I guess it's fine. It seems to be working as intended. Definitely do not want it to spend all 3 of our grain. Let's switch to this view so I can get a better sense of which eggs I want to discard. Probably gonna be this, because we need at least 1 egg on every bird, and we don't care about... Although we do care about eggs in the... whatever.
Sandhill crane. Sandhill cranes can live for decades and mate for life.
Wow. So we have, what, 6 more actions this whole game? 5 of them, I think, are going to be the lay eggs action, which will incidentally do a bunch of other things. And I think the 6th one is going to be a play a bird. It's probably going to end up being the blue grosbeak. Yep, human-like qualities in the bird. Also, senescence? I'm gonna have to Google that one. Oh, I see. Well, it just sounds like that they have a long lifespan compared to the average lifespan of birds. Okay, I saw the bird feeder resets. Somebody is gaining food, or they gained food. In the process of gaining food. Okay. So our final action are the first, let's see, the first 3 are gonna be almost certainly we're getting 4, we're netting 3 eggs per turn. So how much space do we have left in our first 3 lay egg actions? We're gonna go 3, 3, 3, and the next one would be 3 and 4. We could gain 4 for our final one. So I think in the end, this blue grosbeak's gonna be the better choice for us because it's effectively worth 8 points if we play it because of our goal card, and it has 2 more egg slots than the eagles that we would play otherwise. That said, this guy, if we were to spend our next 3 gain food actions, including this one, so we'd have 2 more actions. The first turn we play, and then we have 2 actions. So if this guy hits twice successfully, he nets us more points than the Grosbeak. But not if... No, I think the Grosbeak in the end is still just better. So I think we'll just... I think we're gonna aim to go for this Grosbeak. Especially because we could put it here too and get like the final action could be worth a little bit more. Could be worth 5 eggs. Yeah, I think that's the plan. We're not even in the final round yet, and we already have a pretty respectable score of 53, considering we're gonna gain quite a bit more. I think that's okay. It's a shame our round points aren't going to be very impressive this game. But it is what it is. I mean, we're going to get 12 points, I think, total. I'm pretty sure we're going to get first place in this one. I haven't really looked at what our opponents are doing, like how they're developing their wetlands boards, but I'd be surprised if they could lay more eggs in the wetlands than us. We're about to play this bird in there. The duck has so much egg capacity already. What is this? We're at 9, 11, 13, 16 eggs. I think we got it. So 12 points in total for the rounds. It's not bad. Yeah, the sandhill crane and the common raven are very good buddies. If we had found this earlier, this game would have shaped up very differently. We probably would have... It would have been interesting, to say the least. No pesky birds flying around our cottage up here. That actually kind of works out for us. No one player got that many points for that. But we'll see. Interesting that it doesn't show the other player's scores. It's probably to prevent you from trying to math it out too much. Who's in first, second, or third? Oh, but it's kind of silly because I'm pretty sure I could just do the math myself, looking at each player's board. You know, like for example, this guy's habitat right here is already worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 11 points. Obviously, endgame secret goals that they could have in their hand will change. But what is this? This is like 12, 15, 18. What did we say he was at here? He said he was at 11, so he's like 39 points on his board. But then another 8. So 47 points. I think blue player, for example, is at 37 points. Known information. Yeah, see, if you go to their thing and click, it won't show you their score. That's an interesting decision. I think it should show it. Like, if I can do the math myself, you may as well just, like, save me the trouble. And, like, put question marks on the things that, like, wouldn't be known information, like the bonus cards. Until, obviously, the end of the game when points are counted. I'll just go to this view real quick, so I know what we're doing on our next turns. I think we're hitting this 2 more times, getting the food we need to get this. Imikun, thanks for the raid. I hope you had a good stream. For those joining us, we're playing Wingspan. New release from Monster Couch Games. It is the digital version of the award-winning board game of the same name. They're right here. I mean, it might look a little different to you, but we're definitely playing with cards. We're air-focused deck today. Everything's flyers. Switch to this view for the laying of eggs because it's just easier. Put as many eggs in the wetlands as we can. I'll say yes. Say yes. Now our raven will discard. Let's go with that one. I'll go with this. This is mostly US bombers, since most of these birds are from North America. It's a US UK air deck. Whoa, someone just drew a ton of cards, I think. Yep. They have the ability to draw 3 cards in a turn, so they just drew the display, probably with this action, and now they're taking these actions next. A lot of card draw. I wonder if this person has the end game goal that wants them to have like a hand of 7+ cards. So, what is our maximum wetland? We have a kind of one more important decision to make. Even though we know what our next few actions are, there's still one more important decision we have to make, and that's whether we're putting this blue grosbeak in the grasslands to generate one more egg on our final action for 1 more point, or if we're going to need to put it into the wetlands to just have that many more eggs in the wetlands to ensure we get first place in this one. And that's going to depend on the next 2 actions of our opponents, pretty much. Because we're going to get to see what they do their next 2 turns. We're going to take... We have 1 more turn to go before we have enough food to, I think, to play this and still be able to activate the Sandhill Crane. When we draw cards, or when we lay eggs for our turn. Might take 2 more move action, right? What's the math on that? Because he's gonna lose... We gotta spend 1 seed, but we'll gain 2 back, so we'll be at 3-1. So yeah, that's enough. So after our next gain lay eggs action, we can play this blue grosbeak. Because it'll cost us 2 of the 3 seeds that we'll have at that point. And then we'll still have 1 left over to activate the Sandhill Crane afterwards. So do this. Just ensuring that our wetlands are full. Oh, yes, I do want to take that action. This. These are the 2 we need to gain from our supply. So next turn we'll take a look at our opponent's boards. I'll do it as they finish their turn. So once purple player here, or pink player, finishes their turn, we'll look at their board and get a sense of whether or not they're in contention for the round 4 goal. And then we'll look at the blue duck and see if, and assess, you know, the same thing. And then based on that, it's going to inform our decision of whether we're putting this blue grosbeak in the wetlands or in the plains, grasslands, whatever you want to call them. We put them in the grasslands. What does that mean? It means that we net 1 more egg if we put him in the No, we don't really net an egg, right? Because we'd have to spend an egg. Well, we have to spend an egg anyway to get the 2 food to fuel our Sandhill Crane 1 more time, and then that extra food can just become an egg back again. So yeah, I guess it does net us 1 more egg if we do that, which is 1 more point. However, if we need 3 more, if we feel like we need 3 more eggs in the wetlands to be able to get first place, then we definitely need to prioritize doing that. So we have 13 eggs in this area right now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, yep. Okay, this person's turn is done. Let's take a look at what they're up to. They have 2 more actions left, and they have the maximum, they have the capacity to put up to, what is that, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 eggs in the wetlands, but they don't have a very efficient egg laying action. Do they have other cards that let them lay eggs fairly efficiently? Doesn't look like it, so I don't think they're in contention for taking first place in that. You can look at what this person's doing. They have a better egg laying action, but they don't have the egg, they don't have the capacity in their Why didn't I take this from... I had the opportunity to draw this on a turn, didn't I? And I didn't? I should have. This person ended up playing it. 4, 6, 8. Yeah, they need... So they need with their next... We'll see what their current action is, but after that, they'll need 2 actions to get, like, another bird in this habitat, almost certainly, and then, like, 2 more egg-laying actions, and I don't think they have enough. Nice! I had a feeling you'd be able to do it. You went 6-0, and so you like had 3 tries, right? Still left, so I figured you'd go 7 wins, right? Obviously, you were. I know you were aiming for the 7-0, but 7 wins is still really good. I've only done that like once. I'm not very good at draft, but then again, I don't play draft a whole lot. It's not my style. Yeah, pretty much same here. Anytime I have drafted, I try to get at least try to go 4-0. Alright, let's see what our opponent did in this final turn. He drew birds. So his final 2 actions, he somehow needs to play a bird and then lay enough eggs. I don't think it's possible for our opponents to beat our 13 eggs in the wetlands at this point. Like, not even close. So, in that case, we should play this here, because it nets us 1 more egg. Oops, where are you going? Hello? Why is it putting it there? Game. Thank you.
Blue grosbeak. Grosbeaks especially like tangled vines and shrubby areas on forest edges.
Alright, well, our last 2 actions are definitely lay eggs. And it looks like we're gonna fill up all of our birds, so that's kind of nice. What's our total egg capacity here? 5, 7, 10, 12, 16, 23, 26. So we're gonna get 26 points in eggs. And, since we have 9 birds with eggs on them, this Oologist card is going to be worth a bonus 6 points, which is nice. Feeling pretty good about our position. I don't know if we're first place, but it feels like we're a pretty strong favorite to win. We should end up with a pretty solid score, too. I don't know if it's counting this yet. No, it's not. It's not counting that yet. So our score should be at least 73, which is a pretty respectable score. I think my first few drafts were like 4x, 3, or like 4 wins, 3 wins, 3 wins, and maybe a crappy 2 win. And then I think I started doing a little bit better. I think I got a 5, maybe a 6 and a 7. But that's about it. Like, I've played less than 10 drafts ever. Pretty sure. So these are still full, yeah? So... Actually... Let's do that. We're already at like 81 points and we have one more action left, so that's pretty good. Assuming we get first place, which I think we will. So not the best game I've ever had, but that's still a solid game. Should be like, I wonder if would that card be too good if it was give damage units +2/+2 for 2k? I feel like, what if it was +2/+1? Yeah, +2 attack on damage units is terrible. I mean, I'd love it if cards was in a place where that card was playable, because then that means, I don't know. But I don't think that card will ever be playable as written. Probably needs to be like a +2/+2 to damage units, honestly. And then it might be too good. So this final action of ours is going to be worth 7 points. So this person's done their game. This person's on their final action. I think it's gonna be a close one. I don't know, we'll see. Depends on what the end game goals are of our opponents, and end game goals are never worth that much though, so I guess we'll see. I think our final score is gonna be something like, let's see, 7, 81, I think it's gonna be like 88, which is solid. Not the best, nowhere near the best that I've done, but that's full, that's full, that's full, that's full. Each of these have at least 1 egg on them. That's all that matters. But yeah, we can discard a food to put 1 more egg on something. Oh, I guess... Yeah, it shouldn't matter, right? Yeah, if I wanted to... I forgot this thing can move. We could have moved this here and get even more eggs in this thing, but we're first place anyway, so it just doesn't matter. skip because food at the end of the game isn't worth anything. Yeah, 84. Oh, 84 points. Why do we have 84? Oh, because it probably wasn't counting this before. Because we hadn't achieved it. So assuming we do get first place here, which we should, like this should be the final standings for this thing. We should have 91 as our final score, which is pretty good. Anything north of 70 in this game, I feel like I've done well. Well, anything north of 70 for me is like, I feel like it's respectable. Anything north of 80 is like you did really well. I really like this system. Booyah! We got there. Sweet. Yeah, we got a victory. A pretty solid victory too. We're like 16 points ahead of second place. That's pretty solid. Alright, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Been streaming for almost 2 more hours longer than normally on this game. Normal on a Friday. Thanks everyone who stuck with me and hung out for the entirety of the stream. Hope you enjoyed this game, even if it's not something you necessarily think it might be interested in purchasing, but hopefully you found it entertaining enough. It might be something I play on more casual streams, like on occasion. We'll see. One game did kind of take a little long. I might do a 1v1 games in the future if I'm going to stream them. Jakub Qman, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thanks again for hanging out, and hope you guys enjoy your weekend. The next time we stream could be sometime this weekend. Could catch me doing some couple casual Wingspan streams this weekend. Maybe we'll play a 4-player game and maybe a 2-player game after that. One of these evenings, perhaps. But otherwise, I'm guaranteed coming back on Monday. We're going to play some Runeterra. We're going to be playing an Endure aggro deck. So if you're interested in aggro decks, stop by and check that out. All right. Thanks, everyone.